Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're focusing on learning English and using it in everyday situations.
Yes, particularly for those of you who are beginners.
Exactly.
We're going to be looking at a short conversation,
Okay.
a really simple conversation that you might hear in a real world setting.
All right.
And we're going to break down all the key vocabulary and expressions so you can use them too.
Like a little cheat sheet for navigating everyday English.
Exactly. And the best part is you'll be able to use what you learn right away.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what kind of scenario are we tackling today?
Okay, so today we're going to imagine you're at a cafe with a friend.
Okay.
It's a brand new place in your neighborhood, and you're both excited to check it out.
Ooh, a cafe scenario.
Rare.
That sounds fun and relatable.
But before we get too carried away,
Oh,
let's introduce ourselves as the characters in our dialogue.
okay.
I'm Ella, and you're Alex.
Perfect. I'm Alex, ready to explore this new cafe with you, Ella.
Great. Let's get started. Our dialogue is titled A New Cafe. Are you ready, Alex?
Ready when you are, Ella.
All right. This cafe has such a cozy atmosphere.
You're right. I heard they renovated this place recently.
The vintage decorations really enhance the ambiance.
What would you recommend from the menu?
Their signature latte is outstanding. It has a distinctive flavor.
I'll try that then. The pastries look tempting too.
We should frequent this place. It's a hidden gem.
Definitely. The prices are reasonable too. Wow, that felt like a real conversation. I could almost picture myself sitting in that cozy cafe with you, Ella.
Me too. It's amazing how a simple dialogue can bring a scene to life, isn't it?
Absolutely. But I know some of our listeners might be new to English.
Right.
So let's rewind and break down some of those key phrases and words we just used.
That's a great idea. Let's start with the overall flow of the conversation.
Okay.
First, Alex and Ella complimented the cafe's atmosphere.
Yeah.
That's a natural way to start a conversation, especially in a new place.
I thought it was a great way to break the ice
Yeah.
and show that they were enjoying the cafe.
Exactly. And then they moved on to discussing the menu.
Okay.
Alex asked for a recommendation.
Right.
That's a super useful phrase to remember
Oh, yeah.
if you're ever unsure what to order.
It's like a secret code for help me choose something delicious.
Yes, and it works like a charm every time. Then Ella suggested the signature latte, highlighting its distinctive flavor.
Ooh, distinctive flavor. Sounds intriguing. What does that mean exactly?
Distinctive means something has a quality that makes it easy to recognize.
Okay.
Different from others, it stands out.
Right.
So Ella is saying the latte has a unique taste that you won't find anywhere else.
Ah, I get it. So if I said, this bakery has a distinctive smell of cinnamon, it means you can easily recognize the smell. And it's different from other bakeries, right?
Exactly. You're a natural at this.
Thanks. And I'm starting to feel more confident already.
Yeah.
What happened next in the dialogue?
Well, after discussing the drinks and pastries, Alex and Ella decided to frequent the cafe because they liked it so much.
Yes. Frequent. Another word I've heard but wasn't entirely sure how to use. Could you break that down for us?
Of course, frequent simply means to visit a place often. For example, you could say, I frequent the library because I love to read. Or, my friend and I frequent that new pizza place downtown.
Oh, that makes sense. It's like saying you go to a place regularly because you enjoy it.
Oh.
So in our dialogue, Alex and Ella decided to make this cafe part of their routine.
Exactly. They even called it a hidden gem, which is a lovely expression for a place that's not widely known, but is truly special.
Like a secret treasure waiting to be discovered. I love that phrase.
Me too. All right, let's get a closer look at some of the specific words and phrases from the dialogue. Are you ready for a vocabulary deep dive, Alex?
I'm ready to dive in. Let's start with enhance. I remember Ella saying that the vintage decorations enhance the ambiance. What does enhance mean in this context?
Enhance means to make something better or more intense.
Okay.
In this case, the vintage decorations are adding to the overall atmosphere of the cafe, making it more appealing.
So it's like saying the decorations are improving the cafe's vibe, making it feel even cozier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it like this music can enhance a movie.
Oh.
It makes the experience more powerful and enjoyable. Or a beautiful frame can enhance a painting, making it even more visually appealing.
Oh, I see. It's about adding something extra that makes the whole experience better.
Precisely. And that's exactly what those vintage decorations are doing for the cafe's ambiance.
Now I'm starting to understand how powerful word choice can be. It's not just about saying what you mean, but saying it in a way that creates a feeling or an image.
You got it. That's the beauty of language. And speaking of creating images, let's move on to the word distinctive. Do you remember how Ella used it to describe the latte's flavor?
Yes, she said it had a distinctive flavor. We talked about how it means unique or easy to recognize.
Yes.
But could you give us some more examples to help solidify it in our minds?
Absolutely. Imagine you're trying a new type of fruit for the first time,
Okay.
and it has a taste unlike anything you've ever experienced before.
Oh, wow.
You could say, wow, this fruit has a distinctive flavor. Or maybe you walk into a friend's house and notice a unique scent.
Right.
You might say, your house has such a distinctive aroma.
Okay, I'm getting the hang of it. It's all about highlighting what makes something special and sets it apart.
Exactly. And that's how Ella emphasized the unique quality of the cafe's signature latte.
Distinctive is definitely a word I'll be adding to my vocabulary arsenal. Now let's talk about frequent, which I know means to visit a place often. But how can I actually use it in a sentence?
I'm glad you asked. Here are a few examples.
Okay.
You could say, I frequent the local farmer's market for fresh produce.
Okay.
Or, we frequent that park because it has a great playground for the kids.
Okay, I think I'm ready to try. I frequent my favorite bookstore because they always have new releases.
How did I do?
Perfect. You used it correctly and confidently. See, it's not as intimidating as it might seem.
I'm feeling more and more comfortable with these words. But before we move on, can you remind us why it's so important to repeat these phrases and practice them out loud?
Of course, repetition is key when it comes to learning a new language.
Right.
The more you hear and repeat phrases, the easier they become to remember and use in your own conversations. So don't be shy about saying these phrases out loud, even if you feel a little silly at first.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more natural and confident you'll become. You can even practice with a friend, just like Alex and Ella did in our little role play.
That's a great idea. And if you're looking for more helpful content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and give this episode a like.
We're always here to help you on your English learning journey.
Now I'm eager to learn more about the nuances of this cafe conversation.
Yeah.
What else can we uncover, Ella?
You know, Alex, there's something really interesting about the way Alex and Ella spoke in that dialogue. Did you notice how they used simple, everyday language?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, you're absolutely right.
They didn't try to use big, complicated words.
They kept it nice and short and easy to understand.
Exactly. And that's something I really want to emphasize for our listeners, especially those who are new to English. It's much better to use simple language correctly and confidently than to get tangled up in complex vocabulary.
Right? I think we've all been there. Sometimes I get caught up trying to sound super smart and I end up confusing myself and everyone else.
Remember, clear communication is the most important thing. Even native English speakers use simple language most of the time.
So it's not about showing off how many fancy words you know.
Right.
It's about connecting with people and expressing yourself clearly.
Exactly. Now, another thing I noticed about the dialogue is the use of positive language.
Oh, okay.
Both Alex and Ella focused on what they liked about the cafe.
Yeah.
The cozy atmosphere, the delicious latte, the reasonable prices.
Yeah. It's like they were painting a picture with words, making the cafe sound so inviting.
That's a great way to put it. And using positive language is a fantastic way to make a good impression and create a friendly atmosphere. It's something to keep in mind when you're practicing your own English conversations.
So instead of saying, this coffee is not bad,
Right.
I could say, this coffee is delicious.
Exactly. And instead of saying the music isn't too loud,
Right.
you could say the music is really enjoyable.
I love that. It's like a little shift in perspective that makes a big difference in how people perceive you and your message.
Now, speaking of messages, let's go back to that phrase, what would you recommend?
Okay.
It's such a versatile phrase that you can use in all sorts of situations, not just at a cafe.
Yeah, I'm always a little nervous to ask for recommendations.
Right.
But that phrase makes it so much easier.
Absolutely. Imagine you're at a restaurant,
Okay.
a bookstore, or even a clothing store.
Okay.
What would you recommend? Is a simple and polite way to get expert advice from someone who knows the place well.
It's like having a personal shopper or a food critic at your fingertips.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's practice using it in different contexts. Let's say you're at a bookstore
Okay.
and you're looking for a new book to read.
Okay.
You could say to the bookseller, I'm looking for a good mystery novel. What would you recommend?
Oh, that's a great example.
Mhm.
Or if you're at a clothing store, you could say, I need a new outfit for a job interview. What would you recommend?
Perfect. It's a simple phrase, but it can be incredibly useful in so many different contexts.
Yeah.
And the more you use it, the more confident you'll become.
Confidence is key. Now, I remember you mentioning the power of repetition in language learning.
Yes.
Did you notice how Alex and Ella repeated certain key phrases like cozy atmosphere and reasonable prices?
Yes. Repetition is a powerful tool for language learning. When you hear and repeat phrases multiple times, they become easier to remember and use in your own conversations.
So it's not just about memorizing words, but about training your tongue and your ears to become familiar with the sounds and rhythms of English.
Exactly. And it's not just about repeating things word for word.
Right.
You can also try rephrasing things or using similar words to express the same idea.
Yeah,
This helps you build your vocabulary and become more flexible with the language.
that's a great tip. So, for instance, instead of saying cozy atmosphere, you could say, the atmosphere here is so warm and inviting. Or
Yes.
instead of reasonable prices, you could say, the prices are very affordable.
You got it. The key is to experiment with different ways of saying the same thing.
Right?
It keeps your brain engaged and helps you discover new ways to express yourself.
And remember, you don't have to wait for a real life conversation to practice.
That's right.
You can repeat phrases out loud to yourself, write them down, or even record yourself speaking.
Exactly. Repetition is your secret weapon for mastering English.
Hmm.
And speaking of mastering English, if you're enjoying our deep dive and want more helpful content like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and give this episode a like.
We're always adding new videos and resources to help you on your English learning journey.
Now let's go back to our cafe conversation and uncover some more hidden gems. What else caught your attention, Alex?
Oh, there was so many great words and phrases in that dialogue.
Right.
I especially loved how Ella called the cafe a hidden gem. It's such a descriptive and evocative phrase.
Gem is a wonderful word
Right.
that can really add a touch of sparkle to your English vocabulary. In its most literal sense, a gem is a precious stone, like a diamond or a ruby.
But in this context, gem is being used metaphorically.
Yes.
Ella isn't saying that the cafe is literally made of precious stones, right?
Exactly. She's using hidden gem to describe a place that's special, valuable, and perhaps not well known.
Okay.
It's like finding a treasure that's been tucked away,
Right.
waiting for someone to discover it.
It makes the cafe sound even more appealing, like it's a secret you're sharing with a friend.
Precisely. And you can use gem to describe all sorts of things, not just places.
Okay.
For example, you might say, that new bakery is a real gem. Their croissants are amazing.
Or, I found a gem of a bookstore tucked away on a quiet street.
Exactly. It's a versatile word that adds a touch of personality and enthusiasm to your descriptions. And remember, the word hidden in the phrase hidden gem adds a sense of mystery and discovery.
It suggests that this special place or thing might not be easy to find, but it's definitely worth seeking out.
Mm.
Now let's switch gears for a moment and talk about pronunciation.
Uh,
It's such an important part of speaking English clearly and confidently.
Absolutely. While it's natural to have an accent, especially when you're learning English as a second language, there are some tips and tricks that can help you improve your pronunciation and be more easily understood.
What kind of tips are we talking about? I'm always looking for ways to improve my pronunciation.
Well, one of the best ways to improve your pronunciation is to listen carefully to native English speakers.
Okay.
Pay attention to how they form sounds and the rhythm of their speech.
So watching movies, TV shows, or listening to podcasts can be really helpful.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to practice out loud. The
Right.
more you speak, the more comfortable you'll become with the sounds of English. You can even record yourself speaking and listen back to identify areas where you can improve.
That's a great idea. It's like having a pronunciation coach in your pocket. Now, I remember a word from the dialogue that I sometimes struggle to pronounce: signature. Ella mentioned the cafe's signature latte. Can we break down how to say it correctly?
Of course, signature can be a tricky word.
Yeah.
Let's tackle it syllable by syllable. The first syllable is sig, pronounced like sig in signal.
Sig. Got
The
it.
second syllable is na, pronounced like na in nature.
No. So far, so good.
And the final syllable is tour, pronounced like share in cherry.
Chair. Okay, so putting it all together, it's signature. Signature.
Perfect, you nailed it.
See, breaking it down makes it so much easier. I'm going to practice saying signature latte all week.
Excellent. Now let's move on to another interesting phrase from our dialogue. Tempting, too. Alex said this about the pastries.
Tempting is a great word to describe something that is attractive and makes you want to have it.
Think of it like this. If you're on a diet but you see a delicious piece of chocolate cake, that cake is very tempting. It's calling your name even though you know you probably shouldn't have it.
That's a perfect example. And in our dialogue, the pastries are tempting Alex because they look so good.
He's definitely going to try one.
Now, why did Alex add to at the end of the phrase tempting to? It seems like a
Yeah.
small word, but I have a feeling it's important.
You're absolutely right. The word "to" adds emphasis. It's like Alex is saying, not only is the latte appealing, but the pastries are also very appealing.
So it's a way to show that he's excited about both the latte and the pastries.
Exactly. And it's a great reminder that even small words can have a big impact on the meaning of a sentence. Now, for our listeners who are curious about how to use tempting in their own conversations, here are a few examples. You could say, the new menu at that restaurant looks very tempting. We should try it sometime.
Or the offer to go on vacation was tempting, but I had to decline because of work.
Perfect. Tempting is a great word to use when you want to express desire or attraction to something.
Well, I think it's time to revisit our main goal for this deep dive.
Okay.
We wanted to help English learners, especially beginners, feel more comfortable and confident using everyday English in real-life situations.
That's right. We've explored a variety of useful vocabulary and phrases like enhanced, distinctive, frequent, hidden gem, and tempting. We've also talked about the importance of using simple language, positive language, and repetition to improve your fluency.
And we even touched on some pronunciation tips to help you sound more clear and confident. I feel like we've covered so much ground today.
We have. But remember, the learning doesn't stop here. The most important thing is to keep practicing and using what you've learned in your everyday life.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning something new. The key is to learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward.
And if you're looking for more support and guidance on your English learning journey, remember to subscribe to our channel.
We're always here to help you achieve your language goals. Now, before we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with a little challenge.
Okay.
Think about all the places you frequent in your daily life. The grocery store, the library, the park, your favorite coffee shop.
Right.
Now imagine yourself confidently navigating those places in English. What would you say? What questions would you ask? What words would you use to describe your experiences?
We believe in you. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep the conversation going.
Thanks for joining the conversation here at Kaz English. We hope you found it fun and informative. Don't forget to check out kazapp.uk. That's kazapp.uk for more tips, resources, and interactive practice. Keep exploring, keep chatting, and we'll catch up with you again soon.